everybody, it's Lavender Town, and today I wanted to show you the process on how I make my comic Unfamiliar in Photoshop. But before I get into that, I just want to really quickly say thank you to everyone for your support. My YouTube channel has grown a lot just in this past month, and it's really exciting, and I'm just very pleased that there's so many new people here, and yeah, thank you very much. Currently, what I'm doing on screen here is I'm making the panels. It's just the sketch layer, so I'm drawing in a light pink color. That's my favorite color to sketch in. And basically, the way to do this is pretty simple. You just pick the brush that you want to use, and you draw while holding Shift. And Shift will force it to create a straight line, so it makes really nice, clean panels. Once the panels are done, I start on the actual sketch. Now, I sketch really messily. You might want your sketch to be cleaner than the way I do it. I'm not really sure why it's always so messy, but for some reason that just works best for me, and it gets the most energy in if I'm really quick with the sketch. So what I'm drawing now, this is actually a scene from what is currently the most recent page of Unfamiliar. I should probably mention, you can read Unfamiliar for free on tapastic.com. I'll put a link in the description, and yes, if you want to read it, please go ahead. So currently what's happening is Pinion, who's a little pigeon witch, she just attempted a spell to banish the ghost from Planchette's house, and it backfired. So that's kind of what this page is about. My comic is about two witches and some other characters who struggle with their powers, and I'm really excited for the story to continue. I know the entire narrative, so I'm really looking forward to releasing all the information about all the characters, but this is still pretty early on in the story. So if you're a new reader, it shouldn't be hard to catch up. You might see flashes of me going to my website on Tapastic while I'm doing this, and that's actually because I need to do continuity checks. So basically, I go back to old pages and I make sure that everything looks sort of the same as it was before, like all the furniture is in the right place and the walls look right and that kind of thing. And I'll keep doing that throughout the entire process, just to make sure everything's looking okay. I really struggle with continuity sometimes, so I gotta be really careful. So after the sketch is completely done, and I've written in some dummy dialogue, I flip the canvas, and that's because I like to ink with it flipped so that I can see all the mistakes before I do any inking. But I had to flip it back because lately I've been typing in the text, as you can see now, like all the dialogue and sound effects and stuff, before I draw the bubbles, which is a pretty basic common sense thing you should do if you're doing a comic. For far too long I struggled trying to fit text into a bubble that I had previously drawn, when it's much easier to just draw the bubble around the text. So be smarter than me and do that when you're working on your comic. Inking is definitely the part of comic making that takes me the longest, and I actually cut part of it because the recording was going so long that it began to slow down my computer and make my lines jaggy, so there's going to be a little skip here in a minute, but you've really seen most of the inking process. It just takes forever. It takes like between an hour and a half to 2 hours every single time I do it, and yeah, it's not my favorite part, I gotta say, but it is really important. It helps me do all the other stuff. So you can see now the inking is completely done, and I've imported my little color palette. I have about, like 9 colors that I stick to for the entire comic, and this part, if you've done the inking well, is actually quite easy. You just sort of use the paint bucket tool and fill in wherever you need color. So once I've got my color flats down, I just have to take my sort of rusty red color, I make a new layer, turn it to multiply, and that just means that the color will darken on top of the colors underneath it. So it would be like using a watercolor rather than like an acrylic. It'll just, it'll tint it, but it will add value, so it'll get darker. And I use that for all my shading. So this is the final page done. I was pretty happy with this one. I feel like it flowed pretty well. I'm already working on a couple pages in advance of this one, but it's always nice to look back on how I did it before and to try to keep improving. And I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions about my process or Photoshop or anything, just comment down below and I'll answer to the best of my knowledge. If you want to see more of my art or get in touch with me, I'm all over the internet. The description box has links to my Tapastic, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Facebook, so wherever you are, I'm there. And I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching my video.